Pay no attention to the bodies. Solve the murder of spiritualist Thaddeus the Amazing.
My dear friend, the Ghost Club has an extraordinary case for you. Spiritualist Thaddeus the Amazing has predicted his own death at his next seance. Could you have a look?
Okay.
We have a visitor.
What is happening here?
Help!
Not yet.
Ah!
Someone, light the lamp.
Oh, he's actually dead.
His hair and clothing have been slightly scorched from the explosion. A bloody knife is stuck in his torso. Scorched hair, bloody knife, scorched clothes. Timer and flash pot. A rudimentary timer with charred remains of a fuse attached. The fuse leads to an empty plaster cylinder, apparently the container of a non-lethal amount of gunpowder to produce the recent flash of light. Non-lethal.
All those suspects.
A list of Thaddeus' clients' addresses. There are also 2 columns for each client. Both columns indicate significant amounts of money per seance. The first appears to refer directly to the client. It isn't clear to whom the second column refers. However, Dr. Wilbur is missing from the list. An unsigned paper which would enable Thaddeus Smith to act as Howard Roberts' legal representative.
I believe I should re-interrogate a suspect.
Unsigned. Weathered, probably written weeks ago. I found a tramp who lives on the street near one of the pigeons. The fellow smokes like a chimney, and for the price of a few cigarettes, he supplies me all the information we need. Heavy smoker. For the love of God, get his signature at the next session, or I swear I'll expose you. A.R. A.R. Get signature. Exposed? Theatrical supply. Flash pot. 8 shillings. So he supplied the explosion, but then someone took the opportunity to stab him. Question is, who? Janice.
I have no doubt that his powers were genuine. He was able to tell me of my daily comings and goings, and all manner of details that he couldn't possibly have known. He certainly was going to be able to put me in contact with my sister.
He used the tramp to get info on his clients.
I'm so sorry to lose Thaddeus. The oddest part is that he claimed all would be revealed to each of us before his death. I've been coming here to decide whether I should accept a marriage proposal. Thaddeus had been attempting to contact my departed sister so that she could give me advice. Thaddeus was a kind man who sincerely wanted me to make the best choice. Now what am I to do?
Nothing but a showman, really. Each week he gave a seance with all his clients present together. So many people makes everything much more dramatic. I attend Lady Ursula at these sessions. She's ailing and needs someone to help her along. I have no particular belief in an afterworld, but if it comforts milady, I see no harm.
Butler. The butler did it.
I sought him out after the death of Mittens. I was so hoping to hear from my loved one. I'm convinced Thaddeus could have communicated Mittens' wishes to me. I must know to whom Mittens wishes that I should leave my fortune. But now Thaddeus is lost to us. I shall never know. Mittens is my beloved kitty cat. She was run over by a milk wagon several weeks ago. I've been trying desperately to contact my sweet thing ever since. I'm not well, though, and likely haven't long to live myself.
I don't know if cats are part of the clientele. Howard Roberts.
This is so frustrating. I had a simple question, but have had to come back for seance after seance, week after week. Each time Thaddeus divined a partial number from the other side, but never the entire correct number. Today he promised that I would get everything. Thaddeus felt that if I signed some papers, it would demonstrate to my dead father that I had absolute trust in Thaddeus.
Dr. Wilburn.
He was an incredible psychic. I came to clarify some personal financial matters. I don't understand what happened. He foretold his own death, but I didn't expect it to happen like this.
We need to go investigate elsewhere. Check out Lady Ursula.
Everything you've ever wanted, right here!
Why I want a cat? Do you have cats? Hello, madam. Boston newspaper clipping, dated 7 months ago. Medium foretells his own death. In a stunningly dramatic final seance, psychic Robert L. Magnifico revealed that several clients were being traduced by their loved ones who had paid him to give information at his false seances. But then, just as predicted, he was killed in a mysterious explosion during his final seance on Newbury Street. One of his clients, a Dr. Pittenwein, pronounced him dead at the scene. The phrases, traduced by their loved ones and mysterious explosion, are circled in pencil. Someone trying to do a copycat?
Sure look like it.
I think the question would be who? I found another newspaper article similar to the one I gave you. This one is from Sydney. It appears we will be exposed at the next seance, just as those people were. Douglas, you got me into this. You better solve it. Douglas exposed? To Miriam, my maid, and to Douglas, my butler, I leave my Belchingham china, and thanks for their long service, to be given on their wedding day, whenever that day shall be. I leave my dear cat Mittens all my remaining worldly goods, in the hope that they bring him even a small portion of the joy he has brought me. In anguish herein in the margin is scrawled, whatever will I do now that my dear Mittens is no more? This feels almost like the aristocrats. The butler did it.
Lady Ursula's health is not good at all. And now she's lost her cat, it's almost like she has nothing left to live for. He's been Lady Ursula's butler for years. We have plans to marry. But first, Douglas needs to put together a little nest egg. He says he'll have some money soon. Lady Ursula was planning to leave her fortune to her cat Mittens. Since the cat passed on, she's been going to that spiritualist in hopes that Mittens will tell her what to do with the money.
Okay then. On to the next one. Excuse me, sir. Mr. Everett Boyd's business plans appear to be sound. As long as he has no other pressing obligations, I believe that, if your daughter accepts his proposal, the money you settle on the happy couple would mean the success of Mr. Boyd's venture, and your daughter, Janice, will live a comfortable life.
I should return and find out about this.
I have some affection for Everett, but I don't think my sister would approve of him. She always bade me to strive for more than this, which merely appears directly in front of my nose. If only Father weren't urging me otherwise. Marry Everett? Sister's disapproval. Where are the other clues? Oh, coat rack.
Dude, the coat rack. Call yourself.
There is a letter in one of the pockets. Boyd, dear lad, if you don't get me the money by the end of the month, you will be in a heap of trouble. The kind of trouble that hurts. Need I say more? Where's this fourth clue, though? A pile of stubbed out cigarette butts, likely left by a vagrant. One can still smell tobacco smoke. Oh my gosh, I can follow scents.
Yo, you a sniffer?
First...
Her father mentioned this swindler to me. I understand it's because of him that my engagement has been delayed. I know the owner of a local brewery, and I'm convinced his business will flourish. He just needs some financial backing. Now Janice is free to be married at last. I'll invest my dowry in the brewery and make a fortune.
Never trust a man who tells you what you want to hear. He's after something. Taking advantage of my daughter's love for her departed sister. With that charlatan gone, things can get back to normal. My daughter's engagement to Everett Boyd can be announced at last. Janice's elder sister was strong-willed. Janice always followed her lead. That's why it's so sad that she asks her advice, even in death. Time for Janice to think for herself. I know what's best for her. A girl Janice's age should be married. Everett is a very sensible young man from a good family. He'll be very successful, I'm sure of it.
Janice is a lovely creature. I would be honored were she to accept my proposal. I do adore her.
I don't like how you said that. Let's go see Robert. Dated over a year ago. Mysterious death in King Street. A spiritualist who went by the name of Felix Magnus claimed that he would die at his next seance, but the outcome held even more drama. Mr. Magnus demonstrated to several clients that their closest friends and relations were swindling them via Magnus himself. Before a burst of smoke and flame ended the seance abruptly. Magnus was declared dead by a certain Dr. Folsom, who was attending as a client. Odd that these are happening a lot. A note appended to the father's will specifies that the bulk of my fortune is safely secured in an account, the particulars of which will be communicated by word of mouth to my son. Several scrawled notes. Benlam Bank, A7, Bank of Kent, 270, York Bank, A72.
That's concerning.
My brother has become obsessed with some secret bank account. He inherited almost all of my father's fortune, as well he should as the male heir. But some was locked in a secret account. I think it unlikely that it should be a significant amount. I went along to the seances a couple of times. I thought it was a waste of my brother's time. Power of attorney to a psychic? That sounds very unusual indeed.
Keep moving. That's a girl.
Follow the scent. Someone really likes leaving a trail of cigarette butts. Follow the breadcrumbs, or in this case, the cigarettes. Hey, buddy. Billy! I have a question for you.
That's me. Yeah, some fella come by here every so often. Gives me a silver sixpence if I tell him everything about the folks in that house. Nothing unusual about him. Just a regular fella. I've seen him go into that building over there.
What do we have in here? Anything? Here we go. Business card. Several business cards for a medical doctor. All are identical except each is printed with a different name. Is Dr. Wilbur a con man? W arrive after the others as usual. It will deflect suspicion. Also, make certain that we get a big flash this time. They must be convinced it's enough to kill me. Wilbur's in on it. sort of files containing disorganized details regarding Thaddeus' clients. For example, wants Cat to tell her he should inherit. Janice's sister called her Sissy. The cat loved to play with Lady Yu's teaspoons. Wants you to tell her that her sister approves of the marriage. Knows account number. Needs his signature to access. Howard's father enjoyed grouse shooting.
I should return and find out about this.
Many notes, personal information, signature, inheritance, marriage. She says the account number is A72 at Kentish Bank. Just drive the thing. Drive.
Steady on. Walk on, girl.
Wilbur's in on it.
You're doing fine, girl.
We've got some explaining to do.
Let's go. Who's a good horse? You are. Doing fine. Keep moving.
Can I just go to the map and see what has... No, it doesn't really say.
Let's go. Walk on, girl. Steady on. That's the way. Who's a good horse? You are. Walk on, girl. Doing fine.
They've got a lot of questions for everybody.
You think someone paid Thaddeus to tell my lady that a cat wanted them to inherit? Well, that would be quite a clever scheme indeed.
I simply do not believe it. And if you're implying that my butler was paying Thaddeus, I must ask you, why would a great psychic do the bidding of a common butler?
My own sister, paying Thaddeus off? I thought he was a bit too insistent that I sign that paper. Well, Anne is going to get a good talking to, believe you me.
Good Lord, you found the office? I admit it, then. Thaddeus and I traveled the world, bamboozling the gullible and then exposing the swindle. But his death was meant to be a fake. I have no reason to want Thaddeus dead. Quite the contrary.
You believe that Everett paid Thaddeus to manipulate me? It cannot be true. Thaddeus knew all of my comings and goings. He genuinely could communicate with the world beyond.
So now the question is, which scheme was the true motive? Hair and clothes have been exposed. A bloody knife stuck in the torso. Fake explosion. Also 2 columns for each client. Both columns indicate significant amounts of money per seance. First appears to refer directly to the client. It isn't clear to whom the second column refers. However, Dr. Wilbur is missing from the list, because he was in on it. There's the ding. For the love of God, get his signature at the next seance, or I swear I'll expose you. A.R. Unsigned paper which would enable Thaddeus to act as Howard Roberts' legal representative. Okay. Robert is trying to figure out the note. Bulk of my fortune saved the security in an account. Medium foretells his own death. Some affection for Everett, but I don't think my sister would approve of him. She always bade me to try. Mr. Everett, business plans appear to be sound as long as he has no other pressing obligation. I believe that if your daughter accepts his proposal, money you settle on. Boy, dear lad, if you don't get me the money by the end of the month, you will be in a heap of trouble. The kind of trouble that hurts. Need I say more? Found another newspaper article similar to the one I gave you. This one's from Sydney. Appears we will be exposed at the next seance, as those people were. To Miriam and to Douglas. Leave my China. Douglas, you got me into this. You better solve it. W arrived at the others. Set of files to organize details regarding his clients. She says the now account is A72. Several business cards. Dr. Wilbur expresses astonishment that although Thaddeus foretold his own death had happened in such a manner, claims he came to Thaddeus as a client to clarify his financial situation. Complains he was obliged to come to many seances in hopes of having his question answered, only to be given fragments of the number he seeks. Claims Thaddeus encouraged him to sign some legal papers to demonstrate his trust in Thaddeus to his deceased father. Comes to the seances to assist his employer, Lady Ursula. Feels that Thaddeus gave seances to a group of people to increase the drama. Claims she came to Thaddeus to contact her departed loved one, Mittens. She wants Mittens to tell her to whom she should leave her fortune. Claims she came to Thaddeus after the death of Mittens. Says Mittens is her cat who died in an accident. She herself is ill and does not have long to live. Notes that contrary to what actually took place, Thaddeus has claimed that his clients would each learn something about his death. Thaddeus was able to recount details of Janice's life that he wouldn't possibly have known. She feels certain he could put her in contact with her departed sister. Came to Thaddeus to contact her sister in hopes of obtaining advice concerning the acceptance of a marriage proposal. Okay. She attended 2 of the seances, though they were a waste of time. Her brother is obsessed with a secret bank account containing funds left by their father. Howard inherited almost the entirety of their father's fortune. Now this is the male heir's due. Claims she believes the sum of the account is insignificant. Expresses astonishment that anyone would give a psychic access to a bank account. Janice's father. Contact her sister. Thaddeus was swindling his daughter. States that now that Thaddeus is gone, Janice will agree to marry Everett Boyd. Believe in the honorable intentions and future success of Everett. Janice's elder sister was strong-willed and that Janice deferred to her in general. Refers to Thaddeus as a swindler and blames him for the delay of his engagement. Professes love for Janice, states he would be honored if she would accept his hand in marriage. Plans to use the money settled on Janice by her father to invest in a brewery. contact Mittens. Lady Ursula's health is not good, and without a cat, she has nothing left to live for. Douglas has been Lady Ursula's butler for years. She and Douglas have plans to marry as soon as he gets enough money, which he has told her will occur soon. Claims Lady Ursula was planning to leave all her money to her cat Mittens. Claims that Lady Ursula went to Thaddeus in hopes that Mittens will communicate to her what she should do with the money. Oh, boy. Okay, Wilbur and Thaddeus were basically running a scam. Someone was threatening to expose them. Lady Ursula wanted to know who to leave her money to. Douglas, her butler, is planning to marry his money.
You believe that Everett paid Thaddeus to manipulate me? It cannot be true. Thaddeus knew all of my comings and goings. He genuinely could communicate with the world beyond.
My own sister? Paying Thaddeus off? I thought he was a bit too insistent that I sign that paper. Well, Anne is going to get a good talking to, believe you me.
Do you think someone paid Thaddeus to tell my lady that a cat wanted them to inherit? Well, that would be quite a clever scheme indeed.
So which one? Which one killed him? Thing is, I'm trying to remember who's connected to who. Thaddeus encouraged him to sign some legal papers to demonstrate his trust to his father. That's the guy with the bank account. Her brother's obsessed with his bank account. Believe Thaddeus was swindling his daughter. James will agree to marry Everett Boyd. Miriam is Lady Ursula's maid. And maid and the butler plan to marry. Lady Ursula left everything to Mittens. Dr. Wilbur was part of the scam. So we got a guy with a bank account, a butler and a maid with a cat owner, and then a woman with a marriage proposal. Phew, boy. Get his signature to the next session or I swear I'll expose you. Expose not necessarily means kill. So Anne, A-R. So she found out about the scam, possibly. Act as Howard's legal representative. Boy, if you don't give me the money by the end, you will be in a heap of trouble. The kind of trouble that hurts, need I say more? Douglas, you got me into this. Appears we'll be exposed at the next seance just as those people were.
He was going to reveal my plot. He paid the price for betraying a fellow crook.
This Thaddeus fellow was rather too clever by half. But you pieced it all together very cleverly.
When did you get here?
Particularly interested in this one. He admired the duplicity of Thaddeus.
Artie, what'd you do here? Charlie was the one that set me up with this. Spiritualist Thaddeus Smith routinely swindled not just his clients, but his clients' friends and families. In city after city, Thaddeus and his confidant, Dr. Wilburn, lured in those desperate to speak to the departed in the afterworld. But the swindlers were doubly paid, first by their clients, then by those close to them, who wished to manipulate them. In such a fashion, Miss Anne Roberts hoped to gain legal authority for her brother in order to remove funds from a secret bank account. Mr. Everett Boyd wished to ensure his marriage to Janice Asquith would take place in order to gain a lucrative settlement. And Lady Ursula's butler, Douglas, wished to have her dead cat counsel her to leave her fortune to Douglas himself. But none of these accounted for Thaddeus's old quirk of giving a good lesson to his fellow swindlers once he'd emptied the coffers of his clients. Thaddeus then habitually exposed those manipulators before escaping by feigning his own death. This was corroborated by the supposed Dr. Wilburn, purporting to be simply one more client. But on this occasion, Anne realized the coming exposure and enticed the butler Douglas, the only swindler present at the crime scene, to murder Thaddeus in the dark. Farewell, Thaddeus. You may now speak to those in the afterworld at your leisure. Wow. We have one more murder at the palace.
Murder?
Murder at the palace. Let's go solve our final murder.